So Dana White and the UFC just announced a huge, big fight night card on ABC in Saudi Arabia. And in this video today, I'm going to break down every single fight that he announced for that card because we got some banger, and I mean banger fights happening for that weekend in June. And I want to say this real quick. Finally, we're getting some good fight night cards back because the last three have been abysmal. They've been, I mean, completely trashed. I think we have Manon Fiorot versus Aaron Blanchfield this weekend. I almost forgot if you couldn't tell, but these cards have been pretty bad recently. Last week we had Namajunas versus Ribas. Before that we had Tai Tuivasa versus Tybura. We've had some pretty lame fight night cards, so it's pretty refreshing that we finally get some good fight nights coming around the way here soon with a good pay-per-view after that. 301 looking pretty trash, by the way. I forgot about that one. UFC 301 is not looking the best, but you know what? I'll take that and some good fight nights cards because fight nights need help desperately. But let's dive right into these fights that got announced, and the first one is going to be Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whitaker for that main event in Saudi Arabia. And yes, finally we get Chimaev fighting. I don't think he can fight in the US. That's why he's fighting in Saudi Arabia, unfortunately. I think he has issues with his visa, and his relationship with Kadyrov doesn't really help things out too much. So he's fighting in Saudi Arabia. I'm glad he's back. Whitaker, yeah, I'm glad Whitaker's back as well. This is a #1 contenders matchup, so I guess the winner of this gets a title shot versus DDP next. In the meantime, I don't know who DDP fights next. I don't know what the UFC is planning with that. They might do him versus Jared Cannonier. Or is Cannonier fighting somebody soon? I don't necessarily remember. Okay, so yeah, Cannonier is currently unbooked versus nobody, so they might do DDP versus Cannonier. I don't know if that's going to happen for sure. Don't know what they're planning at all, but I guess we're going to get Whitaker versus Chimaev in the meantime. I guess the winner of that is guaranteed a title shot, and I can't wait for it. Who am I going to pick? I don't know. This one is kind of tricky, and it all depends on, can Whitaker survive that first round versus Chimaev? And I don't know if he can. He almost get head kick knocked out by Paulo Costa with like 10 seconds left. It seems like recently we've seen Whitaker get hurt in the first round a little bit too often. He seems like he's getting old. His chin might not be as good as it used to be. We might be seeing the decline of Whitaker currently. And Chimaev, he's still young, he's still in his prime, he's still powerful in that first round. He ragdolled Usman in that first round pretty easily. It's pretty iffy, if I'm being honest with you, on who's going to win this fight. I think Whitaker is better. I think he can beat Chimaev, but that first round is going to really scare me. But I will take Whitaker to win this fight by surviving that first round, getting tenated probably, getting dropped at some point, but surviving, and then going on to school Chimaev in the next 2 rounds. Could Chimaev win? Yes. Could he just ragdoll and TKO Whitaker in the first round? For sure. It's a good bet to make if you are betting, but I don't know. I just don't like Chimaev when it comes to the later rounds. I think he is one of the more, I don't know. It's just weird with Chimaev, bro. He just doesn't impress me. He gasses. He doesn't have much output. He seems to really slow down and not be as good as he is in the first round. He puts all his effort in the first round. That's why he gasses. And it just seems like if he's fighting Whitaker at middleweight, who is bigger, who is stronger than Usman, and who won't be on 5 days notice for the fight as a welterweight, I think Whitaker can probably find his way to survive that first round and then eventually outgun Chimaev in that second and third round, winning 29-28 decision. I'll probably end up diving deeper into this in a later video when the fight actually happens, in a full card prediction breakdown video, but as of right now, I'm going to keep it short and simple. But as we move on in this video, we also had the co-main event get announced, and that was Alexander Volkov versus Sergey Pavlovich. And this one is actually a pretty crazy fight. 2 Russian G's going at it in Saudi Arabia. I don't know who I'm going to pick. I'm probably going to take Pavlovich here. Volkov seems like he's getting old in his career as well. He worries me with the way that he fights. He's good. He's big. He's going to be a lot taller than Pavlovich, probably more rangier. The teeps. Really, these fights all come down to, can this certain fighter survive that first round? And if they do, they probably win. And it's the same thing with Volkov. Can Volkov survive that first round versus Pavlovich? We don't have too much insight into how good the gas tank of Pavlovich is, but it does worry me just a tad bit. When you see a guy like Pavlovich who's coming off a KO loss, he might be a bit more gun-shy than he normally is, and that for him would be a detriment fighting Volkov here. I think if he does fight slow or a little bit hesitant. He will get knocked out by Volkov in like the second, third round. But we can't forget how long Pavlovich's arms are. He has what, the highest ape index in the UFC. This dude has freakishly long arms. And if he's fighting Volkov, I think he can tag him, but he won't knock him out with a jab like he normally does. He's going to have to put some combinations together, and he probably can get it done versus Volkov, but it might be iffy in that second and third round, man. If Pavlovich can't finish Volkov early, the tape's going to be there for Volkov. The front kicks, the kicks, just the overall output from Volkov is going to be there for him, and he might just beat up Pavlovich in the second and third round because Pavlovich put all of his energy in the first round. So it can be a bit iffy here with these fights. Pavlovich can probably beat him in the first round. I'm taking Pavlovich by first round KO. Again, I could be entirely wrong. Volkov is a good dog in this one. I think he probably can get it done. I will not be surprised if Volkov wins, but I think he might just be a bit too old, a bit too slow in that first round. And I think Pavlovich, who is coming off of a loss, I think he'll be more eager to get a finish in the first round. I think he will find that shot that connects on Volkov's chin and possibly put him down and then finish him. But if he fumbles a finish, it could be all downhill from there. And also, I forgot to mention, with this fight happening, what the hell is Cyril Gane doing? When is he going to fight somebody? He's already turned down Aspinall twice. He's already turned down, I believe, somebody else twice. I mean, what is going on with Cyril Gane? If he's not fighting Volkov or Pavlovich, then what is he doing? We need to get Cyril Gane back into the octagon. He's been sitting out and doing nothing. He might be waiting for a Paris card to be announced. I don't know what he's doing, but we need to get him back in the octagon. This guy's been sitting out and doing nothing for the past fucking year, it feels like. But moving on to the third fight on the card, we had Kelvin Gastelum versus Daniel Rodriguez, D-Rod himself. This one is kind of tricky. I don't know who's going to win this fight, honestly. Kelvin Gastelum is good, but he looked a bit slow versus Sean Brady, but that was a grappler. D-Rod doesn't really grapple like that. D-Rod got head kick KO by Ian Gary, which in hindsight isn't that bad of a loss. I guess getting finished by Ian Gary is kind of sad in hindsight because, you know, Neil Magny survived him and Jeff Neal survived him. So, like, is Ian Gary really that good? Does Ian Gary really have that KO power? Not really. And so D-Rod losing to him like that might be a sign of his chin not being the best. But then again, Kelvin Gastelum does get hurt quite consistently in his fights, so it might be kind of even there. I'm going to take Kelvin Gastelum, but I'm worried. I think D-Rod is old, man. Like, D-Rod is like, what, 35, bro? Like, he's getting up there in age. I lied. D-Rod is actually 37 years old. Like, he is a old man for welterweight at this point. I don't know if he can beat a Kelvin Gastelum, who is still kind of young in his career. He's still pretty good. He's fighting down at welterweight, his natural weight class. He's 32 years old. Like, Gastelum is still good. If he doesn't fight grapplers like Sean Brady, I think he'll be more switched on in the striking. I think when he's fighting D-Rod, we'll see a Chris Curtis level performance from Kelvin Gastelum. I think he'll be spamming leg kicks. I think he'll be going to the body a lot versus D-Rod. I think we'll see Kelvin Gastelum get it done 29-28. But that's pretty much it for all the big fights. There's two more left. They had Shara Bullet versus Ihor Potieria. I'm taking Shara Bullet there. Potieria is trash. My cat is currently being a menace. And then the other one was Johnny Walker versus Volkan Ozdemir. I'm probably going to take Johnny Walker there. I think Ozdemir is also just aging in his career not that well. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon for notifications. I'll see y'all later. Peace.